Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh committed to cooperating with the FBI during their investigation.
But as Alan Dershowitz warns in a new Wall Street Journal op-ed, if Kavanaugh gets disqualified over false accusations, it will set a dangerous precedent.
Joining us right now is Harvard law professor and author of The Case Against Impeaching Trump, Alan Dershowitz. All right, Alan, you did say, I want the FBI to look into this. Do you believe anything changes after these 5 days if things can't be proven?
Well, I hope they look into it carefully. I think they ought to look particularly into the Swetnick affidavit produced by Michael Avenatti. That's the most serious one. They're charging him with gang rape, with standing on a line, waiting to rape women who have been drugged. I think it's so important to investigate that, because if it turns out that was made up out of whole cloth, it puts the lie to the notion that you should believe all victims, that no women ever lie, that nothing is made up. And if it turns out to be true, that is clearly disqualifying. Well, so I would get to that clearly and decisively.
You're calling on the FBI to continue their background thing. That's something for the president to do. You could take Ms. Swetnick to the FBI to launch a complaint. You could go to local authorities. Why haven't you done that?
Well, first of all, I don't believe we could take her to the FBI because I don't think the FBI would have jurisdiction over her claims of abuse or inappropriate sexual conduct as pled or as stated in the declaration. I think that would be a matter for state authorities in the state of Maryland, and we may very well do that. We may plead out a criminal complaint.
Well, who do you believe? Because based on, you saw her on camera with Michael Avenatti, but then you saw him in the hearing, and he was like, that's a farce. I don't even know this woman.
Well, you have to. She says she has witnesses to confirm it. Michael Avenatti says witnesses, but he won't name them. The FBI ought to go to Avenatti. Avenatti, by the way, ought to waive any lawyer-client privilege or to open all this up, let the FBI get into this, let the FBI find out what her original story was, whether it was changed as the result of coordination with him or with other people. Look, you know, the myth out there is this is a job interview. Nonsense. First of all, if it was ever a job interview, you don't start a job interview with half of your potential employers saying, we're not going to hire you under any circumstance.
Do you consider this a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution. Which
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah. This
is hell.
This
is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap.
Second, once a person is accused publicly of specific, focused crimes that are career-destroying, that job interview metaphor disappears. You have to now prove those allegations by clear and convincing evidence with due process. Imagine if the situation were different. Imagine if a liberal Democrat president had appointed the first Muslim American to the Supreme Court, and somebody said, oh, yeah, I remember he was a terrorist when he was 17. The ACLU would be all over this case. No, you can't presume guilt of terrorism. Everybody would be saying the burden of proof is so heavily, but when the shoe is on the other foot, when it's a white man being accused by the left of sexual offenses, all the rules are called off. The rules of presumption of innocence, the rules of due process. We know he's guilty because he's a white man, she's a woman, she's a survivor. That's the end of the inquiry.
All right, Alan, exit question. If no new information is discovered, does he get confirmed quickly?
Well, it's up to 4 people. And I would think if no new evidence comes out, then the burden of proof hasn't been satisfied. And because this was put in the public domain, he will probably be confirmed.
All right. Alan Dershowitz, we'll read that op-ed. Thanks so much for your opinion.
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion,